All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started today. Thanks for joining me on this Encore webinar presentation. I'm really excited about today's session. We had a lot of requests to put this Encore out. It's such an important topic, really planning out your year, your 2025. How are you going to have a successful year? And it usually starts with your marketing and other initiatives to drive more leads. And so putting together that plan, our emphasis is going to be on focusing on what you should be doing, the channels that you could be using, and some of the key trends and stuff that are going to really dominate online here in 2025. So really excited to jump in here. Let's go ahead and get started. I have a lot of stuff we're going to cover today. What I really want to focus on today is just to make sure you have clear goals for 2025 as it relates to your digital marketing plan and really how you want to grow. It comes down to really analyzing how many leads you actually need to generate on a monthly basis according to the goals that you have set out for yourself, those revenue targets. We're also going to talk about the three fundamentals to online marketing success. We'll also cover how to optimize your website for conversions. This goes for 2025 and going forward into the future as well. Some of the key tenets for optimization and really dealing with how Google's always moving their algorithm around and how you can kind of satisfy what it's looking for. We'll also talk about the big picture of online marketing channels that you should be tapping into. The whole goal is to maximize your lead flow. And so that's what's really called our online dominance method. And so we'll talk about that. And then we're going to spend some time on the latest trends in digital marketing. There's so many new things that are going on right now that have come out within the last year or so, making big impacts on marketing strategy like AI, artificial intelligence, and content, things like that, that some of you probably already are tapping into, but we want to make sure that you're not left behind in that regard. And then finally, we're going to really dive into and help you develop that custom action plan based on where you're at and what your goals are, where you want to be, and just kind of help you gain some clarity for you and your team to really maximize your sales potential and your revenue potential in 2025. It's just a quick blurb about me. You've probably been to some of our workshops before, so you kind of know who I am. Admitted computer geek from way back in the late 80s when I learned how to write code. Also an associate member industry partner for the NAHB, the Denver HBA, NARI, as well as the NKBA. I am a former home remodeler and real estate developer. I have developed $1 million custom homes of my own. Done a lot of remodeling, some fix and flips, did the landlording thing. So really know where you guys are, where you're coming from in that regard. I've also authored a book called Internet Marketing for Contractors and Builders. I also host a podcast now. If you're ever interested in being on a podcast, have some really great insights to share with the industry, hit me up. I'd love to have you. Love to talk to you about your success and how you've grown your company. I've worked with builders, contractors, and remodeling companies all across the country. I know the deal. I know what you guys are going through, especially when it comes to how do I drive more leads? How do I grow my company? It's not growing fast enough. We get a lot of people that they really want to grow. They're ambitious. They're really passionate about what they're doing. They just can't figure out how to make that growth plan an actual reality for them. That's a little bit about me. Really want to focus on the content and really educating you guys and what we do to help remodeling companies, general contractors, builders really increase their sales and grow their revenue. This is what we do. We don't work with every industry out there. Some of those big bucks companies you've probably heard of out there, they're working with everyone from dentists to lawyers to doctors to plumbers to roofers to remodelers and yoga studios and flower shops and everything else. We really just dedicate ourselves to this industry. I'm passionate about it, love the industry, love contributing as much education and value as I can. And that really spills over into the results that we're able to get for our client partners and really just to help you and get that education out there if you're doing it on your own. So, really, what's the hardest part about marketing your business, your remodeling business, your general contracting business? What kind of problems are you guys having? That's really what I am trying to help you guys solve for. It's different for everyone. If you want to post anything in the comments there, please be interactive here. That way, we can try to solve some of these problems together. Keep us interactive, so we're not getting lost over in Facebook or TikTok or watching confirmation hearings or whatever. Really want you guys to be interactive. I know that for most people, most of the comments I see, and I also saw in the first webinar that we did last month, it's just more leads. People want more leads and quality leads too, not just more leads for the sake of their phone ringing, but actually quality leads that they can go out and have a design consultation on. So that's what we're going to try to help you solve for as we dive into to 2025. The biggest thing is that there really is no magic formula here. There is no silver lining, some silver bullet, that some one size fits all marketing. It just doesn't exist. You need to guide your own marketing efforts based on the areas that you need to improve upon with your company, whether that be driving more leads, whether it be your sales process, whether it be trying to get more consults set. Maybe it's your customer service that needs a little work based on reviews you're getting. So it's going to be different for you versus some of your marketing or your remodeling colleagues out there. Remember though that small changes can really have a big impact on results that you're trying to achieve. So really think about taking small steps. It doesn't have to be huge, massive changes that you're trying to make here, just baby steps. As we dive into 2025, the first thing I want you to be looking at and thinking about is just setting clear goals. You can't reach a goal if you don't set that goal to begin with. One of my favorite quotes, I've used it twice this week already, is you can't hit what you don't aim for. If you don't have a goal, you're really not going to hit it. And so I like quoting this Harvard study here, done way back, several years ago. It just shows that the graduates that set goals, those are the only ones that actually achieve those goals. And they also ended up making twice as much money as their classmates did, the ones that didn't articulate or set their goals. So it just really goes to show that having those well thought out written goals is really going to probably elevate your company, make you more successful, and in the end, it's going to help make you more money. So that's what we're all really about, is really setting goals, trying to achieve those goals, and hopefully having very successful businesses. My goal setting framework is it's just obviously it's just to have written goals and plans, and then how do you go about doing that? You really need to just set a minimum of a 1 year goal, quarterly goals, what we call 90-day sprints, and then we have monthly goals as well. And you really want to make sure that you're setting those different level of goals, and then trying to achieve those goals, not just kind of putting them off to the side. You got to check in on your goals every so often. You can't. That's why those 5 year goals aren't as effective. You want to have a 5 year vision, but maybe the word goal is not the right word for it. A vision of where you want to be, the level you want to be at, the number of employees, the revenue level, size of your company. But it's these shorter goals that you check in on a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly basis. Those are the ones that are really going to help elevate you to newer heights in your company, because you're always going to be able to question yourself. Are you on track? Or did you accomplish that goal? Did you reach it? Or what do you need to do? What pivot do you need to make in the moment, right then and there, to get you on track? Whereas, a 5 year goal, there's just so much time in between now and then. It will get lost. And then you also have to have a stopping point, to say, did I hit that goal? Yes, great. Now I need to make another goal? I need to maybe put that goal out there a little further to really stress yourself, to challenge yourself to hit that. And then if you're not hitting your goals, why didn't you do it? Was it a lack of effort? Was it a lack of conscious thought going into setting those goals? I tell you, the companies that set goals, the people that set personal goals for themselves, and they check in on those goals on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, those those are the people having success. So there's a lot of power that goes into goal setting, and just envisioning where you're going to be, and just kind of visualizing what your company is going to look like, what your life is going to look like, what life is going to look like for your family, for your employees and their families. There's a lot that goes into the power of visualization and setting those goals. So don't lose sight of that. And and then let's talk about, what's your target revenue for 2025? If you can just snap your fingers, kind of project forward to the end of this year, how much revenue do you want to end the year with here in 2025? And then what's that look like from a monthly revenue standpoint? And so whether it's, $500,000 for someone, maybe it's 3 million or 15 million for people on this call. I know a few people on here are really doing some big business. I know a couple others on here that I see that are kind of just starting out. They're not yet at a million. So think about that goal, divide that number by 12. That's going to be your monthly revenue target. Write that down, get that visualized. I've got a vision board over here in my office that I look at. I can't help but look at it every day. And I've got my revenue goals on there. I've got other goals that I want to achieve on there. So make sure you put that in writing, maybe even share it with your team, so that you're forced to confront that with your team on a weekly, monthly basis, so that they're kind of helping you work toward that. It's a goal for them too, and they know that if you're meeting a company goal, then most likely life is going to be better for them as well. So let me know what your goals are. Just type in the chat while we're talking here. If you have any revenue goals. No, Michelle said that she wants to add just another 500,000 this year. Not sure where you're at, Michelle, but that seems really doable. Joseph, shooting for 5 million. So when you break that down, that's probably what, 420,000 per month. So what's it going to take to get there? So really think about that. Tom says he's looking to hit 10 million this year. All right, Tom, good for you. Just think about what your goal is. What's that break out to monthly? And then now you know where you need to be. And then we're going to kind of reverse engineer how many jobs you need for that, how many calls you need for that. So thanks for everyone that's put those comments. And I've seen a lot of different numbers coming in here, anywhere from 600,000 up to 15 million in goals here. So great job on everyone interacting and engaging here. I appreciate that. And so then what you want to do then is you want to reverse engineer your target revenue goal. So based on that goal, how many calls are you going to have to generate in order to make that goal reality? And so write down your target revenue. How much is that monthly? What is your average transaction value? A lot of different folks here on this call. Some of you may be only averaging maybe $25,000 per transaction, maybe small baths, things like that. And then I know others on here, your transaction value is into the six figures easy, 500,000 million dollars, custom builds up to 2 million. So if you divide that monthly revenue needed by the average transaction value, that's going to give you an idea how many closed jobs you need. So, pretty simple math here. And then how many calls will you need to run on a monthly basis in order to hit that target? How many calls will you need based on your closing percentages, your sales ability, really, your sales process? What are you going to need to get there? And so that's what we're trying to do, is reverse engineer those numbers so that you can figure out, okay, working backwards from the revenue goal, I need this many jobs based on my closing ability. Let's just say 1 out of 4. You divide that number or times that number by 4. That's how many calls you're going to need, because you're only going to close 25% of those. So that gives you an idea. Are you driving that many quality leads per month? Not just how many phone calls are you getting, quality verified leads. Are you driving that many per month? And if the answer is no, then you got to think about, what are you going to do with your marketing plan to drive more leads? Is it ramping up your SEO? Is it hiring a company to do it instead of trying to do it yourself and making no traction? Maybe you're already having an effective SEO plan. Maybe now you need to add in pay-per-click marketing, or Google local service ads. Facebook ads. Maybe you need to be trying some different strategies to see if you can build your brand awareness a little more through social media. Email marketing can be very effective. Just emails going out, a newsletter could generate another job or two for you per month. So think about that. Think about what you're going to do to really up the ante on how many calls that you need. And so, what we've done here is just kind of give you an example here, breaking out your average conversion ratio, based on, let's say in this example, it's 33%. A lot of people say they're at 33%. I don't know. I think some people end up being a little lower than that. And when you actually start crunching the numbers, you're like, you're really more 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5. And then I know folks that say, hey, me as that business owner, I'm closing, at more like 40%, maybe even 50%. But your salespeople who just don't have that maybe that passion, that personality, that fondness of owning the business, of being the owner, maybe they're a little lower. So think about that and just make sure you're really clear on that so that you know how many leads that you need to generate. Again, not just phone calls, but actually how many leads, qualified leads, that you can talk to, have a conversation with, and then hopefully, go out on that design consult. So make sure you put that on your whiteboard in your office so that at least you can see it. Maybe it's in your team meeting room, but you got to talk about these goals. You can't just write this down today and then really never revisit that throughout the year. Because I can tell you, for probably about 99.9% certain, you won't hit that goal if you don't really visualize that and think about it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And the next step, we really want to make sure we're paying attention to is your marketing message. It's part of our 3 M's, your marketing message, who you're marketing to. In other words, your ideal customer avatar. And then the media, what marketing channels are you actually using to drive brand awareness for your company? The channels that drive the most leads for your company. Maybe you're using lead generation platforms, those paper lead platforms, and you're putting a lot of money into that, but you're not really driving a lot of leads, a lot of actual revenue. So think about, do you need to move that money into pay per click? Do you need to be doing more SEO? Do you need to maybe go to a trade show that you've had success at in the past and just haven't really wanted to do that again? So, really want to think about that message and making sure that it resonates with your ideal customer, which is going to be different for everyone on this call. What is that message? And making sure that message is consistent across all your marketing channels, that what you're putting out there in blogs, what you might be putting out there in emails, things like that, it matches what you're putting out there on social media too, and vice versa. Making sure that all ties together. So when you make a social media post, it should be linking to a blog post that might link to another page on your website. So there's a lot to do to keep that marketing message consistent. And then make sure you know who your ideal customer is. It's not someone that wants a budget bathroom done or a budget kitchen done. You got to really be able to identify that, and then discerning between residential and commercial, and then thinking about the homeowner and what are some of the characteristics about them. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the clearer you are on who your customer is, actually crafting your message around that, and why they should choose you versus working with the competition. That's going to really help drive your 2025 marketing plan. That's what is really going to help you stand out from the rest of all the competitors out there. And I know you guys have a lot of competitors out there. So you really want to fine tune your message so that you're unique, you stand out, you have a unique selling proposition, what we call that USP, why people should work with you. And it's not just because, oh, we got a great reputation. Well, there are a lot of 5-star companies out there. What really is it about you? For me, I used to develop custom homes. I used to be in remodeling. I know this industry. And so that's what has made our company so successful, because I understand what business owners are going through. We can have those real conversations, and I've taught everything to my team. And so that's our USP. There's not probably another marketing company out there that has the experience that I have. So think about what your USP is going to be for your own company. Did you come up through the ranks? Are you a second or third generation builder? Things like that can really help pre-position you as the go-to contractor in your area to where people will at least give you that chance at the design consult just based on your history, based on your brand, and the fact that they've heard of you and know all about you. And and so the best way to do this is really start thinking about your ideal customer avatar, thinking about their goals, their frustrations. This is the ideal customer that you want to work with, the one that's not a pain in the neck, the one that's willing to pay a premium. They will pay a good price. They're not trying to cut corners and really skimp by on a little budget. Maybe they're going to be flexible. They're going to be fun to work with. They're going to have a good personality. They're not going to seem like they're going to be a tough client to work with. Believe me, we've had some of our own that, they're just you can't please them no matter what you do. It's their mission to just be a pain in your butt. So think about that. I know one of our client partners. She just won't work with people like that. She's just like, no, life's too short. I want to enjoy every project that I work on. And so if you have the financial ability to do that, or just part of your personality that says, no, I'll lose that job. I can lose that money. I don't care. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. So think about that when you're talking with people too, because you don't want to have those bad experiences. No one really does. And so you really want to think about all those different pains and frustrations, those fears and implications they're going through. Yeah, what they're thinking about. See the job, see the remodeling company, your home building company, see it through their eyes so that you can really understand what they're going through. And so, when we're talking about home remodeling, what we found, with demographics is, it's people typically in that 35 to 55-year-old range. They want to do a remodel. They've bought a new house or they've been in it for a few years now. Time to start doing some upgrades. People that are older, they're typically set with their house at that point. They're not doing much more, or maybe they've got enough of a nest egg built. They'll just go buy a new custom home, a spec home that's already been done for them. These folks got some disposable income to work with. Could be a dual income family. A lot of times it's the woman of the household making the decisions. She runs the home. She's probably got some kids, but she is the head of the household. Most likely, probably working a job too. But she's the one that's really driving the day-to-day operations for her family. And then that income level is going to be different. We're in Denver, very kind of expensive city to live in. Going to be much different than some rural town in Oklahoma or something. So just be very clear on who your ideal customer is. Are they easily frustrated? Do they have concerns with current situations in their home, or your services and how you can meet those unique concerns? They might not have a lot of time to deal with this. It could be that dual income family. They're working. They just want this done. They just want a better life for themselves, a better living situation, a bigger kitchen that's more functional, maybe a big island that everyone can gather around for family gatherings. Maybe you host a lot. So just really think about some of these character traits of your ideal customer, and then how you can speak to them, not only when you're talking with them, but in your messaging as well, because that's what's going to resonate with them. This is something a lot of people miss. They're having marketing companies write these generic blogs, probably AI written. How much does a kitchen remodel cost? Like, we've all seen that a million times. How are you really reaching out to your customers and really tapping into what their frustrations are, their fears, their goals, their dreams, their aspirations? So think about that and how it relates to your content. I talked a little bit about the fears and implications because it really is one of the biggest ones. It's, they're really, worried about being ripped off and overcharged, paying too much. I mean, I've gotten bids that are hundreds of thousands of dollars apart, and you just say, what? Well, how can this one be 5 times more than the first one I got? And so, you really, people are afraid of being ripped off. They have some fears about you being in their house, all day, in and out, coming and going. Maybe you're there, maybe you're not. Maybe you got dogs, pets that you're worried about. Maybe you've got beautiful landscaping that you don't want trampled. So you really think about, what kind of an inconvenience that you're going to be causing them and how you can provide the best customer experience for them. And then, think about their goals and what they're really trying to achieve with that remodel. Is it just functionality? Is it opening up space, knocking out some walls, maybe? Like I said, putting that kitchen island in that just makes for a much more entertaining space. How everyone congregates in a kitchen every time I have a house party. Everyone's in a kitchen, and I got a small kitchen, so I need to knock out a couple walls myself. Just haven't got around to that yet. But really think about this from their goals and desires perspective. And what they're really trying to accomplish here. That's going to really matter quite a bit. Just saw Ali said, definitely these things are on their mind, and she tries to hit those pain points in the design consult. So thanks, Ali, for putting that in there. Yeah, Rick also, I just see here, said that having confidence in their contractor is really big. Yeah, of course, they want to really feel like they can trust you. That's why videos on your website are really huge. They get to see you, they get to hear, see you speak, and really get a feel for who you are before they've even made that call. And we're going to talk about those videos a little bit later as well. So think about these things here. Hopefully you guys are addressing this in your content. If not, now 2025 is a good year to start that, right? And then think about why a consumer, a homeowner should choose to do business with you over their competition. And, it shouldn't be that obvious stuff like, oh, free estimates or, hey, we're the best in town. And, that's why you should work with us. Like I said, really think about that unique selling proposition. What really makes you stand apart? Maybe it's that design process, your customer service, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. You'll come back and keep fixing things if they don't like it. What is that USP for you that really can distinguish you from your competitors and give you that big bump in your marketing and your company growth? And then what are some of the benefits that you offer to your ideal customer that really resonates with them? Make sure that you're hitting some of these hot buttons like the ease of scheduling, quick turnaround time. You're going to handle all the permitting for them. Permitting's a pain in the butt, so letting people know that you're going to handle all that. That straightforward upfront pricing. You're not going to come back with some price increases somewhere down the road unless it's a change order, of course. But really, what distinguishes you, and being licensed and being able to show all kinds of different jobs that you've done in your portfolios. A lot of contractors aren't licensed, so maybe they're really good and they've been doing this a while, but maybe you have the license, they don't. Maybe that's something you can talk about. Maybe your city or your state doesn't require licensing, so that doesn't matter. So just some things for you guys to think about. And then you really want to start crafting the reason why they want to work with you. Some of these things are going to apply to the remodelers and builders on here. I know that we usually have some plumbers, HVAC contractors on here that I know through vast networks. So money saving offers really work for them, even with a remodel. If you could say 5,000 off, usually you're baking that in. But you can also, afford to give up some of that profit to win that job with a really good customer. So just think about, some of those messages that you can put out there that's really going to resonate for folks and get them to choose you. At least, get an opportunity to talk with them and really sell yourself in that interview. That design consultation, which is an interview, by the way. You got to come out there with a smile. You got to come out with a good pitch. You can't be dry and bland, boring. I've seen that before. Really come out with some personality and some charisma to win that job. The next important thing is really to make sure your website it converts. It's really the core of everything you do. Everything comes back to your website, even when people see on social media. They're going to go check out your website. They see on Google, they're going to click through to your website. Pay-per-click advertising, they're going to end up on your website. TV ad, radio ad, they're going to end up on your website. Lead gen platforms like Angie's and Howells and those others, they're still going to come back to your website. So you really want to make sure you're converting at the highest level possible. We call that conversion rate optimization. That means not just getting visitors to your website, but now you convert them into an actual customer. They're either calling you on the phone or they're submitting a web form. So you got to think about your website from the standpoint of, is it converting? Is it built to convert visitors into actual customers? And so, just an example site here, just making sure you've got good title tags that really talk about, what you're offering, what your specialties are. Always having that call to action up here, your phone number. Everyone's used to looking for it up in the upper right corner. Don't be cute and put it over in the bottom left or hide it somewhere. Just put it up here where they're looking for it. Make sure it's click to call. Most people are accessing Google searches, websites, and such from their mobile devices. So they just want to be able to click that button and boom, now they're calling. So that's really big. Having calls to action in your photo slider, having rotating photo slider here is really nice so they can see some samples while they're looking at your site. Having reviews somewhere front and center on your homepage as well as in your nav menu up here. Good H1 tags. These are called heading tags. This is what Google's looking for when they look up, to say, what's this website really about? It's these heading tags right here that says, city plus the keyword, the service that you're offering. And then making sure your content's unique as well. You can't just count on AI to generate content for you and just call it good. It's boring, it's bland, and most likely someone else is using that because AI just keeps spitting out the same stuff. AI is a place to start with your content needs. Get some ideas in there, and then take that content and spin it and rewrite it a little bit so that it's unique and it speaks to you, speaks to your company, you as the founder, speaks to your exact services and maybe something unique with your marketplace, your geographical market. So make sure that you're being unique and you're not just using AI to just spit out content because Google last year, they de-indexed, I don't know how many tens of millions of web pages because it was all generic AI, just garbage. And that's going forward, we're going to see more and more of that. Google's going to say, all right, this AI is getting to be a little much. I mean, just like you and I would think that same thing, like, okay, I'm done with the AI. I want to read something from a real person. So think about that going forward. With this particular client, we really made a huge impact. You can see, boom, just nothing but steady growth here. Here's a growth in phone calls that just kept going up. So a website that's built to convert can really, really make a big difference on how many consults you get and really, how much revenue you're driving for your company. Uh, just to share with you, here it's just kind of kind of a results KPI board for us where we took, that website from poor conversions to fully optimized, and then you can see, what we did in that previous screenshot there with the uptick in traffic. But I mean, these are big numbers here. Total number of leads, cost per lead is not too bad, especially for 50, what is it? $48,000 per job. Revenue potential is huge. Even at, closing at 1 out of 5, 20%, you're still over 4,000% return on investment. This ROI calculation here is $1 of marketing spent, $44 of gross revenue coming out. So, that's marketing that works. That's marketing that you can sit and play with all day long and have success with. So this is, just one of many examples. We're always really just trying to keep that graph moving from left bottom to right top, just always upward trend and growing your revenue for you. Um, if you don't have this, reach out to me. Our website, conversion blueprint, just a simple conversion blueprint for just some of the things that you need to do. Some of the bullet points. Do I have this in place? Do I have this in place? How am I getting people to engage? Do I have my calls to action, CTAs, in other words? Do I have my customer reviews on my website? Do I have my Google Map embedded on my website that ties to your Google business profile? So if you want this, just ping me. I see Marcia, Rick. I will send those over to you. Um, got your info. So anyone else that wants this, just let me know, or just take a screenshot of this right here is fine. But just make sure that you've got all these things into place so that you really are optimizing your website for those conversions. And then, is your website really set up for conversion? Are you really looking at the conversion elements that will really truly help your website convert more? So, take a couple minutes and think about this with your own website, or even pull your own website up here where we're talking through these next couple of slides. But do you have these things in place? Is your website, is your content really speaking to your target avatar? Does it address their fears and frustrations? Does it address your unique selling proposition and why they should choose you? Are you using real, authentic images, or are you using stock images from Getty or Photo Stock or any of these others? Do you have real team pictures, pictures of you, your team, videos on your website, giving your customers some insights into you and your company's values and your ethics and your passion for why you started your company? What better way to welcome visitors to your website than just have a homepage video that kind of just says who you are and what you're about, and that you're showing that you are also technically savvy a little bit. You're forward thinking and you're proud of the brand that you've built and that you're showcasing there on your website. So I love seeing a welcome video on the homepage and then separate videos for all the other interior service pages, a separate video for kitchen remodeling, separate video for bathrooms, separate video for basements, maybe full home renovations, really talking about all the different services that you offer, and then having a video that kind of opens that page up so that people kind of get a feel for who you are and your expertise in handling that. One thing I will tell you is if you got a website that's built with great content that really speaks to your consumer, your ideal customer, and you got videos welcoming them and just talking about who you are and how you approach that particular service, and your competitor doesn't have that, I guarantee that you're going to win most of those jobs. So that's something really to think about. Showcasing your online reviews is really huge. We know how important reviews are, especially for your Google business profile and getting into that coveted Google 3 pack. So that's super important. And then just, making sure the fundamentals are in place. Like I said, that phone number in the top right-hand corner so they can easily get a hold of you through that click to call button. Are you leveraging chat to just really open the door? More people are using chat nowadays, especially the younger generation that are just starting to become homeowners. They grew up with chat much more than us old folks. So, you got to really think about, hey, we're not going to have a whole conversation in chat, but we can get the ball rolling in chat, maybe get an appointment set up there. And you can tie that in with Facebook Messenger and apps on your phone so that you can have that chat directly. It just pops up and now you're texting. Really, it's called chat. It's on your website, but it really just becomes you texting and trying to get that phone consultation set up, or be able to say, hey, do you have time? Can we jump on a call now, or can we set a time for later today or tomorrow? And that all started through chat, which I don't see enough people leveraging nowadays. So really, really think about that. And then, of course, one of my favorites, because I'm really big into tracking return on investment and making sure that we're doing a great job, is call tracking. And the only way to really truly know how much call volume's coming in and then be able to quantify your cost per lead is through the use of call tracking. And I really can't emphasize enough the importance of call tracking and understanding these metrics and how it can really guide your company and guide your marketing efforts to show you what's working and what's not. And then what I really feel is the big elephant in the room right now. It's the biggest marketing issue facing builders, remodelers, and home improvement companies, and that's unconverted leads. Those are leads that just they go away. They ghosting you. You don't know what happened to them. You never hear from them again. These are the ones that you really need to start thinking about putting your thinking cap on. And the problem is that 50 to 60% of these inbound leads, they leave your website unconverted. They haven't made a call. They haven't submitted a form. They didn't book the consultation with you, in other words. And typically, like 90% of web forms fail to convert. Most of that's just due to lack of follow up or landing in spam or whatever. So you really need to solve for that. The reasons these go unconverted is most people aren't following up on these leads quick enough, so they're going cold. You really need to follow up on leads quickly within 5 minutes. The average attention span for human beings is about 7 to 8 seconds, about the same as a goldfish. So if you're not following up quickly, those leads are lost. You really need to follow up with customers at least 5 to 7 times. And I've read marketing statistics that say it could be as many as 8 to 20 times before they book an appointment or before you can actually log that sale for a new job that you're going to be doing. So really think about that. And like I said, think about text messaging, that chat feature. Text message open rates are 95% compared to email, which is about 2 to 5%. So people, they like to text. They're going to answer text. If you get your chat set up the right way, you can get that all tied in together, and then you never miss an opportunity. Because when you try to follow up with those opportunities, it becomes very difficult. And that's why it takes 5 to 7 or 15 or 20 times, because now you're trying to reach them outside of their, comfort zone where they called you when they had time. But now when you're trying to reach them, now they're back at work, they're on a job, or they're, they're taking their kids to school, or, whatever it may be. Now you're having trouble reaching them. And then you're like, oh, that was a bad lead. No, it wasn't a bad lead. You let it go, and then you never were able to get back in touch with it. So that's why that sales follow up, that lead follow up, is so important, to get those people back, into your world. And so the solution, that we use, and that we really push all of our clients to use and have great success with, is marketing automation. You need to be following up with people within a couple minutes. Like when they submit that web form, are you looking in your email all day, every day? And do you go look in spam every minute of the day? Probably not. But if you have automation set up to when someone submits a website form, boom, it triggers off an email and even a text message that says, "Hey, thanks for the inquiry, blah 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 blah. We'll be following up with you shortly," or whatever that messaging can be. I mean, it can be as extensive as you want. It could be a whole series of emails. "We'll be following up with you shortly," and then maybe the next message is, "Hey, do you want to schedule a time here? Otherwise, I'll just call you and hopefully catch you at a random time." I hate doing that. I hate when people do it to me. Like, you got things going on all day long, so it's not really nice to be able to schedule and have that automated scheduling feature. So really think about that, and getting automation. A lot of people, I hear this all the time. "Oh, automation doesn't work for my company," and I call phooey on that. Bull phooey. Automation works. It's just about personalizing that automation, making it sound like it's not so automated or so robotic. Because there's no way that any contractor out there can tell me that they're following up with a lead 20 times. You're not doing it. I know you're not doing it, but I guarantee you we can install some automation in there, and it will happen without fail. And so that's really the key with automation: is it's consistent, it's reliable, and it will never fail you unless you're having a software failure or something like that. So really think about that, because there's no way you're following up that often. And that follow up isn't just like bugging people, like, "Hey, trying to get a hold of you. Hey, me again, trying to get a hold of you." So that follow up is sending them case studies, portfolio pictures, projects you're working on, testimonials, just anything, accolades. "Here's an award we won," like whatever, anything and everything that will help, kind of pre-position you for that eventual sale that you're trying to close. And that's really what it's about: is pre-positioning your company with some brand awareness, some heightened brand awareness. And so just some really quick math here, just taking a conversion rate from 30% And it's not a close rate. This is just a conversion rate, just getting in touch with somebody and setting up an appointment. And then taking that up to 70%. And then look what you do with the revenue. You more than double your revenue because of that, conversion rate that you've really dialed in there. So think about that and what that can look like for you and your company when it comes to growing your revenue. Just getting that conversion rate up is going to really make a big difference. Um, so, what are your takeaways so far? What are you guys going to implement? What three things maybe that have jumped out to you so far? Really want you guys to spend a couple minutes thinking about that. I see some comments rolling in here. Catherine says, making her website more inviting, more personal, getting that personalized message in there, right? The videos that we're talking about. Tom's authentic team photos. Yeah, like just not having an about page that says, hey, we've been in business for this long and we're great at what we do. We have great customer service. Everyone has that about page. Make your about page stand out. Put some authentic team photos on. Put some bios on there so people can go like, oh, cool, this guy's into the Denver Broncos. So am I. I'm not, by the way, even though I live here, sort of. But make it personalized so that maybe something jumps out. They're like, oh, you're a skier too. Oh, you run marathons. Oh, so did I. Did my first one last year. Now you've got a conversation, something to talk about, just to break the ice with. So think about what you can really do to make your website better, but just overall, how can you be converting at a higher rate? I see marketing automation a couple times in here. I'm so glad to see that because I really cannot emphasize enough how important that is. And again, it's about doing it the right way. It's not about like me again, me again, me again, hey, me again. Yeah, that's going to be very annoying, right? Who would do that though? Like think about it. Put your thinking hat on and think about how would you want to be contacted. And if you're seeing photos come in, some testimonials, and you're like, wow, yeah, maybe I'll reach out to this guy. Because think about it, these people are doing big jobs, big remodeling jobs, $100,000 jobs, maybe 50,000, maybe 250,000. They are not going to convert right away. They don't just say, "Oh yeah, okay, hey, got somebody done, booked." Maybe they just thought about it at the dinner table last night, and it's going to take a few weeks, maybe a few months, maybe in a couple of years to actually get that conversion. If you're staying in touch with them with email automation and a newsletter and things like that, you are going to convert more. I promise you, you will convert more if you stay in touch with clients. And the other thing I talked about earlier, just knowing and tracking your goals and KPIs requires that call tracking. Call tracking is really going to dictate and be able to define for you. Are you getting a good return on investment for your marketing in each marketing channel? What's Google PPC doing for you? What's Facebook ads doing for you? How's your SEO performing? How's those house leads working out? Or Angie, like every channel is going to have a different ROI, and then you're going to have your composite ROI. So, is your marketing working? What isn't? What is? And then how do you tweak that? And that's going to really be able to help you dictate which channel is getting you the best cost per lead, and which ones maybe aren't really doing it for you, and you can reevaluate those going into this new year now. So really having this tracking dashboard, all this tracking in place, super super important, and not doing it on a yellow pad and pen. Making sure you've got some kind of a dashboard set up, a CRM set up, maybe even a simple spreadsheet, but something that you're tracking so that what is your real sales closing percentage. You may say, oh yeah, I'm at 35%, but when you start, doing the numbers, you're like, wow, I'm only at 12%. I can't tell you how many times we've seen that with clients who inflate those numbers. They think they're doing better. They're not trying to be dishonest, but when we actually start running those numbers, we're like, do you realize you're at less than 10% closing on your jobs? And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know. Like, no wonder we're not, growing. It's not the lack of leads. It's a lack of actually being able to close jobs. So make sure you've got your goals and KPI dashboard set up so you can really track that. Um, Again, here's that same screenshot I showed earlier. Really, this is what we do on a monthly basis, so that we can really look and see where we're at. What's our cost per lead? How many leads did we get? And what's that revenue potential? What did they actually close at? What's that ROI look like? Is that ROI working for you? Are you getting $44 back for every dollar you spend? Or are you only getting $2 back for every dollar you spend, which isn't bad. But when you start talking about your overhead and everything else, then it's not so good. That's 100% ROI. Not so good. We're shooting for numbers in the thousands is what we want to see. So think about this and think about where you're at. And if you're not breaking your business down into these details, you really need to be. Uh, Here's our online dominance method. I'm not going to go through this. You guys have probably seen this before, but it just really talks about all the different channels that you can be tapping into, your website and SEO from pay-per-click, retargeting everyone that comes to your website, making sure you're in those online directories so that Google and the search engines see you everywhere. You kind of ubiquitous. And then those, repeat and referral business. We love that. Repeat referral business. Those close at 100%. You're not much automation needed there, right? Not much follow-up needed there, right? But when it comes to internet leads, these people don't know you. They don't know your brand. So that's where you got to think about these leads are going to be different. They're going to be harder to close. They're not any less quality of a lead. They're just going to be harder to close. Google local service ads, pay per lead platforms, social media, video platforms as well. Um, these are all part of all the different marketing channels that you can be tapping into. So think about where you're at, what's working, what's not working, and then where you need to think about maybe steering your ship for the new year here. And then I want to talk about the key trends for 2025. We got some big things happening in digital marketing, man. It just talked about this with my team this morning. There's so much changing, and it can be overwhelming at times. And if you're doing your marketing on your own, like God bless you, because I don't know how you can run your business and then be a marketing professional on the side, because so much is changing in terms of AI and voice search and hyper localized content and things like that. So let's kind of jump in here and just see where 2025 and beyond is going. I'm going to do a future workshop where we can break this down a little more, because there's just so much going on. Everyone knows about AI, artificial intelligence. It just keeps transforming search. We'll continue to do that with its content creation through ChatGPT and Claude and those other AI content platforms out there. Voice search is also going to become bigger and bigger. People just, we talk to Alexa and we talk to Siri. Now we're going to be going to Google and putting in voice queries and hoping that we get delivered optimized search results based on that. So voice, queries are going to be more like sentences, not a keyword. You're not just typing in basement remodeling. You're going to be saying, oh, hey Google, find a basement remodeling company near me in this certain zip code. So you're going to need to optimize for voice search and that question-based kind of search query that really is going to start factoring big into search engines. And then hyper-personalized content. This means content that's written with a very specific user and intent in mind. That way, it serves to really enhance your user engagement and reduce those bounce rates. This is really going to contribute to your SEO rankings. It's going to be very specific. Again, not just how much does a kitchen remodel cost, but really detailing out, what you want done, what area of the country you're in, what city or neighborhood you're in, and then really finding out the cost based on that alone. Video, I talked about video. It really, really needs to be a huge part of your content strategy going forward. We're talking about short form videos. Just quick snippets that really attract more eyeballs to your content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, even. Optimizing that content, that video content will play a big role as well. So make sure you're optimizing, not just like throwing videos up there. Really trying to optimize those files, those titles, things like that. This is really going to be big going forward. Remember, folks, that video converts at about 8 times the rate of just normal readable content. No one wants to sit and read stuff, but we'll sit and watch cat videos go viral all day long. So think about that as well. In my SEO workshops, I talk a lot about Google's new core focus, which is summed up by their acronym EAT. That stands for experience, expertise, authority, and trust. These four elements will be the most important driving factors when it comes to how effective your content is viewed by Google and other search engines, as well as by your target audience. So this is definitely a new trend that you don't want to sleep on. This is, how do you incorporate those four elements into your content? So think about that. Other trend is the zero click search results that may not sound familiar to you. But this really revolves around Google's featured snippets. This is where you put in a search query and it gives you all the information you need right there in that top spot, what we call position 0. And these snippets are taken right from your website, or they're actually, I see a lot nowadays, they're generated right from AI. They don't even talk about a website at all. It comes straight from AI. So the idea is that these zero search clicks are happening and they're getting you into that position 0 right at the top of the page. So think about how you can write your content to answer some of that. Visual search optimization. This is a new trend around Google Lens and visual search, image search, in other words. Really emphasizes the importance of optimizing your images for search. So what I mean by that is high quality, keyword optimized images with the appropriate alt text. That's going to result in more search traffic for you. Like I mentioned with videos, don't just upload your images willy-nilly. Make sure you're optimizing the file name, your alt text, your metadata associated with each image. That's going to really be important. And then when we talk about page experience and all those core website statistics that come with that, bounce rate and how many minutes people are spending per page, things like that. Now, what we're really talking about here is optimizing the user experience, the UX, in other words, so that they have a good interaction with your website and your content. Factors such as how quickly your website loads, that's known as page speed, as well as other technical SEO factors. Mobile first website design will become more and more important going forward as well. So think about, are you really tackling some of that technical SEO expertise that you need to be? And then, as with other companies across the world, builders and remodeling brands that demonstrate sustainability, they're going to attract and retain ethically minded audiences. Most of you know this already. You see these types of requests from customers, as well as more and more innovative vendors that you guys use that are focused on sustainable products and sustainable features that can be incorporated into your projects that might result in a longer lasting, more healthier Mother Earth, taking care of the world we live in through sustainability. Advertise that, become a part of that trend, not just for the trend's sake, but that's because who you are, and that's some of your the core of who you are as a person and what you want to do for your community. And then we've got a search intent refinement. This centers around search engines being able to understand the user intent of a search. In other words, the search intent, is it purely informational? Is it navigational? Or is it transactional, i.e. a customer with commercial intent for a particular product or service that they're looking for in order to purchase it right in that moment, to find that contractor, to find that particular product or service and follow through on that purchase. And then as we march towards the future and all the technological advances that we're seeing and others that we don't even know about yet, interactive content like virtual reality experiences, interactive polls and quizzes, and then last but not least, those 360-degree view videos, those are going to continue to gain traction. We're seeing that those interactive videos more and more in home building and remodeling. They're really cool experiences. It's really fun to watch those and really get a feel for actually being in that room that your architect or design team just designed. Now you can share that video possibly with your customers. And then we all know social media. Hopefully, everyone's using that for brand awareness. But most of us think about social media, those social platforms. They're just built for interaction with your friends and family, maybe your target audience. But for younger demographics, these platforms serve as their search engines of choice. These younger folks will eventually be homeowners. So make sure that you're optimizing your social content with the use of hashtags, keyword optimization for image captions, and then platforms specific content designs too. All these different platforms typically have different measurements for images and things like that. So make sure you're paying attention to that so that you don't have images that are stretched or too small or fuzzy, out of resolution, whatever. And then with SEO, there's a bigger and bigger emphasis being placed on hyper localized search. Those searches where people are typing in near me at the end of their search query, like kitchen remodeling near me is their search query in Google. So your SEO reach is really shrinking more and more these days, with the focus on your Google business profile being hugely important, and then optimizing your localized content for dominant mobile phone usage nowadays. Most people are searching from their phone, so you really want to be thinking about that, making sure your content is really focused on being hyper localized, talking about those neighborhoods and not just, a big city like Denver or Austin. You're actually talking about the neighborhoods within that city, those neighborhoods that you want to actually work in. And we'll talk more about local SEO in the future, in a future workshop. Also, privacy-driven marketing. Data privacy laws are constantly shifting the digital marketing environment towards more ethical data collection and cookieless tracking, so that every website you go to is not tracking you. We've already seen that with mobile devices and how those were affected by the big change that Facebook ads made, where they allowed you to opt out of tracking. Contextual and intent-based targeting will eventually replace entirely that heavy reliance on personal data collection that really none of us want anyways. And then last is the Google's advancements, their BERT product, the advancements in natural language processing, the NLP, will continue refining search results. The impact will be that high quality, contextually relevant content will win in the search rankings, and that's going to be emphasizing value over volume. So when we look at these key trends for 2025, the big overarching takeaway is that successful SEO strategies will merge that technical expertise, that user-centric content, and cutting edge AI to adapt to the changing search behaviors and technologies that are out there. So there's a lot to unpack there. We're going to be doing a future workshop or two that really centers around all these key trends, so that we can go into them in a little more detail. And so, just to sum up again, when you think about your overall marketing plan, what marketing channels will you use? What key trends will you focus on most? It's going to be different for everyone, depending on different levels you're at in revenue, different cities and parts of the country in. But whatever you choose to focus on, make sure you give those one or two initiatives your total focus. Don't just be half in on this, just dipping the toe in the deep end. You've got to jump in and really go after it. Don't just do one or two videos and say, oh, that didn't work. It's got to become a trend. I was talking to another agency owner yesterday that said, man, I've been doing this certain marketing strategy, email marketing email newsletters. He said, it took me 3 to 4 years before I really felt like I gained traction. And now he's killing it. I mean, he is super successful. And I've learned quite a few things just talking with him. So make sure that you're really all in on whatever you try. Don't just dip the toe, because it's not going to work. Most of these strategies take months, if not years, to really get gaining traction. So think about that, and really being committed. Make sure you have those specific initiatives, those specific goals that you're going to focus on in 2025. What is going to help you achieve your goals for 2025? What will have the most impact for you? And then what will you say that you're going to fully commit to? That's going to be the really overarching question that will guide your 2025 marketing plan. If you have any further questions, anything I didn't answer, don't hesitate to reach out to me. If I can just help, answer any questions you're stuck on, make some suggestions for your website to show you where you're going wrong, just kind of help you implement a couple things in your 2025 digital marketing plan. Reach out to me. I'm always on the phone with people every single week, offering free advice, just spending half hour on the phone with them, an hour. I don't mind that. I'm trying to help you guys succeed and push the industry forward, keep everyone being as successful as possible. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask for help if you need to. If you have any further questions I didn't answer, anything else at all, if you have suggestions that you would like to see a future webinar workshop on, let me know, and we'll put together a webinar around that. I love suggestions. I love feedback. Anything that I can help with, I'm here. Thank you, everyone. I hope you really got some value out of this workshop. I hope you'll dedicate yourselves to really mapping out a plan to succeed in 2025. One of my favorite sayings is, if you failed a plan, then you are planning to fail. You must have a plan. You can't do this willy-nilly. You got to really think about what your plan is and whether it's, if it's built to actually help you reach those goals. I hope you feel more prepared to crush it in 2025 now after going through this workshop. I really appreciate everyone being on here. Thank you for those that were putting comments in. I see a couple thank yous in the chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Really appreciate you guys engaging. I hope I was able to bring some value here. Thank you again for your time. Hope you got some great education out of it. We're going to wrap it up here. Hope you got some great value. I'll look forward to seeing you guys on our next webinar workshop. And happy 2025 to everyone. Make this your best year ever. Let's make it happen, folks. We'll see you next time on our next workshop. Take care.